Gran Saga, developed by NPIXEL, the same studio behind the upcoming Chrono Odyssey MMO, isn't an anime MMO with the same level of enthusiasm from players as Blue Protocol, which makes sense. It's a very different type of MMO, which we'll get into, but at the same time is absolutely gorgeous, features a deep narrative, full voice acting, a large world to explore. Yet, the CEO of NPIXEL confirmed that yes, a global version of the game is most definitely in preparation. However, it will only be released once many parts have been fixed in the current service version. It'll be released when kindness, convenience, and content quality are maximized. It's refreshing to hear the CEO himself say that our MMO right now still kinda sucks, so we're reworking it before releasing it outside of Asia. Although, Korea seems to love the game since it managed to earn over $100 million within its first 3 weeks of release. But when do they plan on launching globally? Are they planning on holding any beta tests between now and release? I plan on answering every single question that I possibly can in this video, providing you an easy to digest FAQ on everything you can expect going into 2024, so take a seat. Gran Saga is an open-world anime MMO. It features segregated zones, similar to Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2. It utilizes a hack-and-slash hybrid action combat system, providing players the option to lock onto targets. It is NPIXEL's very first MMORPG project, with Chrono Odyssey being their second. It seems to be fully voice acted with animated cutscenes. It is going to be completely free to play with monetization in the form of gacha, much in the same way Genshin Impact and Tower of Fantasy monetize their games. You'll obtain characters, each with their own respective weapons, fighting styles, character personalities. This adds a lot of diversity for players as you can deploy several characters in battle, being less reliant on other players. Honestly, after Googling around, all I could really find was praise. Many users had positive things to say about the game, claiming that they're free players with absolutely no issue being competitive, obtaining the characters they want. It is one of the largest, most lucrative MMOs in both Korea and Japan, which is partially why NPIXEL have opted to develop a second MMO, Chrono Odyssey. If the game were a failure, it likely would have shut down already, and the studio would be bankrupt, or shut down. Gran Saga has found monolithic success in Asia, even in spite of the CEO claiming many parts need to be fixed, that content quality needs improved. My guess, and this is just pure speculation, is that they know that there are features or functions present that Western players just won't like, and are trying to make alterations to the game ahead of the global release so they aren't met with immediate irreconcilable failure. Much like what Kakao are doing with the removal of auto combat from Odin Valhalla Rising. Before we delve any deeper into Gran Saga, allow me to take a moment to thank my incredible patrons over on Patreon who allow for me to do dedicated videos like this every single week. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot thank you all enough for the support. Now, back to the video. Absolutely not. Gran Saga Unlimited is a trashy NFT version of Gran Saga. The release of Unlimited really tarnished the reputation of the Gran Saga intellectual property in the West, so much so that when I've discussed Gran Saga in the past, over the last year or so, players have replied with, "You mean that crappy NFT game?" No, Gran Saga and Gran Saga Unlimited are completely different MMOs, just like ArcAge and ArcAge War. Gran Saga is not NFT garbage, thankfully. No, not at all. Blue Protocol is a Japanese MMO that was licensed by and is being distributed by Amazon Game Studios. They're known for altering the core games that they publish, both with Lost Ark and Blue Protocol. It looks as though NPIXEL have every intention of publishing both their MMOs themselves, from what information is currently available online, which means absolutely no censorship whatsoever. Gran Saga is also a Korean MMO, and they're a little more laid back, a little more lax when it comes to hot characters in video games. That is the question we're all asking. The CEO hinted towards a 2023 release at the beginning of 2023, but alas has not updated us any further since, meaning we're left to speculate. In 2023, the CEO felt the game wasn't of a quality that he deemed adequate to release to the global market. The alterations could have taken half a year or two. The latter is unexpected, which means it is definitely likely a global release could be coming at some point in 2024. The CEO himself admitted why. The Gran Saga product was not high enough quality to release outside of Korea and Japan. Asia is much more forgiving of autoplay features, heavy predatory monetization, so Perhaps they were removing autoplay, if there is any. I'm not saying there is. Perhaps they were reworking the rates for character obtainment, making the game more friendly to Western players who definitely don't have the same funding that Asian players do for gacha games. Or hentai. Current confirmed platforms are PC, Android, and iOS. No console functionality at present. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, another crappy mobile MMO? And the answer is no, it's really not. Is it comparable in terms of quality to Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft? No. But name a single anime MMO that is or has ever been. You can't, because there are none. Yes, this game would have likely benefited more from remaining a PC exclusive and disregarding mobile as a platform, but at the same time, Genshin, Tower of Fantasy, there are many gacha games that have found success with the inclusion of mobile functionality. And cross-platform MMOs are the future of the genre. Plus, I mean, would they really have earned $100 million in 3 weeks if it were a PC exclusive? I don't think so. They never confirmed which regions will be supported in the global release of the game. You can be certain that major English-speaking countries will be given priority: North America, Canada, some parts of Europe. Although it is worth noting, whatever regions Gran Saga ultimately ends up supporting, the upcoming Chrono Odyssey MMO will also likely support. It is believed to feature an English dub when it releases, although admittedly, I've never heard a good English dub of an anime MMO before, so I would honestly probably prefer Japanese anyway. Unfortunately, no global beta tests took place at all within 2023, but it's likely we'll see some in 2024, especially if the game really does release this year. I don't believe pre-registration is open and available for the global release at present, which means a beta test is probably further away than we'd like. Gacha and MMO studios typically open pre-registration a month or two ahead of a test phase or release to garner hype and attention. Kind of? Like, they both feature large worlds, although Gran Saga's is segregated, like Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2, rather than open, like Genshin or Tower of Fantasy, which doesn't mean that you can't explore massive areas. You can, just not to the same degree. They feature different combat styles, but the same gameplay loop and gacha systems. I think the success or failure of Gran Saga isn't necessarily down to one single thing. I think regardless of the autoplay it may or may not have, the gacha elements, the cross-platform play, it is going to appeal to a demographic of players interested in anime MMOs. Anime MMOs are some of the worst MMOs in the entire genre, so even at its worst, this isn't going to be any worse than the crap that we already have plaguing the genre right now. It'll also appeal to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of players that are just looking for a fun MMO to play, bolstering its player base even further. Will it be a success? It already is within Asia. Any additional revenue accumulated outside of Asia is just icing on the cake, and will aid NPIXEL in the global release of Chrono Odyssey. I think these are the most important questions answered. I have searched around, I couldn't find any additional questions that I thought warranted elaboration. I'm still excited for Gran Saga, and I can't wait to play it in English, hopefully at some point later this year. Now, if you're interested in other MMOs that are releasing this year, I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now that might be helpful to you.